Good evening guys, KieranR1885 here, and today I'm bringing you part 2 of my game collection. This is quite, well, I did my Xbox One games in part 1 a few months ago, so it's been a while since I'm bringing you part 2, but part 2 is going to be my Xbox 360 and the very minimal Xbox games that I do have. I'm going to start off with the Xbox titles because I only have 3, so it's a very small collection, but the 3 I do have are probably the 3 best games for the Xbox. So we have Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, didn't feel like it was a disc in there, and Half-Life 2. All of these I actually picked up from Kex really cheap. I think Halo 1 was £1, Halo 2 was £1.50, and Half-Life 2 was £2, so you really can't go wrong. That's £4.50 I've spent on 3 top quality games in my collection. And haven't actually got around to playing them yet, apart from Half-Life 2, which is amazing. But either way, they are still such great games. Even if I never get around to playing them, they're still great to sort of, have in my collection. Okay, so to start off the 360s, so we are going to start off with one of the most notorious games on this console. Probably one of the best for certain. I need to sort of make some room so I can put some games down. We're going to have to go here. So we're going to start off with Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Absolutely great game. Probably revolutionised the Call of Duty series, then followed by Modern Warfare 2. But so much fun with this game. I bought this game recently for about, it was about a £5, I think. But I played it before, like I previously owned it back when it was in the prime, and it's great. I love it. Still love it to this day. Like, I'd go back and play the multiplayer. I might even go do that later. Yeah, defo doing that. I can feel it. The next 2 games are actually recent pickups of mine, if you see my videos. So we've got FIFA Street for the 360, the reboot, linked with FIFA 12, like the same sort of engine, graphics, etc. Really good game there. It gets a bit boring after a while, I will admit, but still a fun game nonetheless. Next up we've got Rage, a game from ID and Bethesda. Not the greatest RPG, but still a fairly decent RPG. This is the second time I've owned this game as well, and I paid 99p, so can't really go wrong there, and I'm going to get around to going back into that very soon. Next up we have probably, I'd say this is definitely one of my favourite games on, I know I'm about to say, yeah, I'll go back and play that to like nearly every 360 game I own, but it's true, and it is especially true to this game from IO Interactive. It's Hitman Absolution. Obviously the new Hitman's come out and it's episodic, so I'm not really too keen on picking it up just yet, but what I am keen on doing is going back on Hitman Absolution and getting the last achievements I do need for that game, because they're not difficult. Some are, some aren't, but some I can easily get, and I am sort of just trying to boost my gamer score. I'll link True Achievements in the description down below. That is the website I use for all my achievement tracking, and there's an app for it on the Xbox One as well. Next up is definitely a classic on the console. I haven't played it that much, but I still own it, and that is BioShock. Really good game from what I've played. Yeah, it's just like, it's got a compelling story to it. I know that because I played BioShock 2. I played the second one on the PS3 when I owned a PS3 before this one, but this is still a good game nonetheless. This is my favourite game on the console, and that is LA Noire. My case is a bit battered and bruised, which is sort of annoying. I would just swap the case, but obviously with it being a 3 discs, I need a case that has the enough space to hold it all, and I don't, unfortunately. So there is that. And one thing I do love about this game, am I right in saying it does? Yes, one thing I really love about this game, or games like this, is full colour manuals. I love it, love it. It's amazing. It's a nice, it's like a collector thing, like, full colour manuals. It feels nostalgic. So, LA Noire. Next game, I think this has a full colour manual as well. Oh, it does. Oh, don't do this to me. Red Dead Redemption Game of the Year edition. I've owned this for like 3 years now, and I think I've played it like once, twice maybe. I've played Red Dead before, not on the PS3, but again, as you can see, full colour, it looks amazing. The beauty with this is, like, some of the manuals, like full colour, you can see some of the artwork in it as well, some of the screenshots, and it just looks fantastic. Like, it's just more enticing, like when you go to buy a game. So there's that. Next up is an Elder Scrolls game. I own Elder Scrolls 5 on PC, but Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion is a recent pickup on the 360. I paid $2.99 for this. Again, another full colour manual, sort of. It's sort of, as you can see, it's like that sort of colour scheme with a few screenshots. It's not as fantastic as the others, but still, full colour, an amazing game. It was probably the best game on the console until Skyrim was released, but still, Oblivion, an amazing game to play. Even now, like, it's been out for nearly, I mean, it's been out since 2006. So 10 years this year. That game is nearly 10 years old. It's mental. Next up we have Splinter Cell Blacklist. I played Conviction and waited a really long time to pick this one up, but Conviction was amazing, and I haven't really got to grips with this just yet. It's not because I hate it, I just haven't had that much time to play it. I've been playing the Xbox One obviously a lot more. I sort of have neglected the 360 since, but I need to sort of, I think for a few weeks or so I might sit down and actually go through my 360 collection and play through some of the games I've got. So Splinter Cell Blacklist, definitely one of those games you need to pick up for the console. This game I actually got this next game we got at Christmas, because it's backwards compatible on the Xbox One, and that's the only platform I've actually played this on so far. And there's Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. It's the Xbox 360 Classics edition. It's in mint condition because obviously I got it brand new. No full colour manual. Got it. But either way, still a really good game. Holds up really well, especially the graphics seem like they shouldn't have been improved, but it still feels as if they have been from the previous sort of, well, if you were to play it on the 360 it wouldn't look as good as what it does on the One, but usually with the other games that are backwards compatible they're not like that. But either way, so next game I picked this up because it was really cheap. Played a demo on PC and I really liked it, so I picked it up on 360, and that is Red Faction Armageddon. Fairly decent game, like, but it's mission based rather than its would it be right to say predecessor? No, rather than its previous Red Faction Guerrilla, which is definitely the much better game out of the two. So next is I have a series of games. I have five games in this series. So we're going to start off with Assassin's Creed. This was great, I'm not going to lie, but it wasn't the best in the series. The best one is unfortunately the best one I own, my second favourite, I own on backwards compatibility, and I'll explain that in a minute. Assassin's Creed, though, it's still a fairly good game. It was a really, like, when this first came out, it was a really intriguing IP. When I picked up my PlayStation 3 for the first time in 2007, basically my PS2 broke, and I was like, oh, Dad, can I get a new PS2? Do you want a PS3 instead? Yeah, no brainer really. So, and Assassin's Creed was actually one of the games bundled with my PlayStation, the 40 gig model. Either way, Assassin's Creed, still a really good game. Assassin's Creed 2, I do have on backwards compatibility. If I didn't mention it in my previous game collection video, I'm actually collecting for the Assassin's Creed series, so at some point I will pick up a disc copy of Assassin's Creed 2. I'm looking to get the Game of the Year edition because I've seen that in Kex for like £3, so can't really go wrong with that. Next game is also, I really want to get back and play this. It's another one of those, but this is my favourite Creed game of the entire series, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This is this isn't just my opinion, this is probably a shared opinion across the community of people that actually love this series still, somehow. Brotherhood is amazing, it is the best one, there is no arguments about it. apart from Assassin's Creed 2, Syndicate is probably the only Assassin's Creed game that comes close to Brotherhood. So, the next one is Assassin's Creed Revelations. Fairly decent storyline. I mean, you get to play as both Altair and Ezio, and it's a conclusion to both of their stories in one game. It's sort of sad, but also quite good at the same time, because I think any longer it would have just dragged out a bit. It would have become a bit stale, and I think by this point it was starting to become stale, but it was intriguing by the time you'd finished the story, so I was happy with that. This next one is the worst in the series, in my opinion. I do have the collector's edition for it though, the Join or Die edition, and that is Assassin's Creed 3. Absolutely hated this game. Really, really hated this game. But obviously it's an Assassin's Creed title. There will probably come a time where I'll try and bear my way through this. And this is also, to my knowledge, it's the only Creed game that's 2-disc on 360. I think Black Flag might be. Maybe. Don't hold me to that. This is also a really good title. It's not the best, but it's good in the sense of how new the sort of storyline is, and that is Assassin's Creed Rogue. This really wasn't like looked upon by many people because this came out at the same time as Unity, but by the time Unity had released, everyone was sort of moving over to the Xbox One. I know it's sort of the same time that the Xbox One had released, but people were more fussed about that than this. Hence why this didn't sell as well as it should have done, because this deserves a lot more credit. Like, don't get me wrong, it is a good game. So yeah, now I need to... So the next game I have is another collector's edition. I picked this up fairly cheap because I'm a big fan of this game. If I just roll over to my drawer to pick up something else that you'll see why it makes sense. It is the Alan Wake Limited Collector's Edition. I'm actually opening it up here, so as you can see it's like a style of a book because Alan Wake is an author. Open it up and I'll show you what we got inside. I didn't show you what was inside the Assassin's Creed 3 one, but it's nothing great. I prefer this one, quite honestly. So we have a case with a bonus disc and a soundtrack. From what I've heard, the soundtrack's fairly decent, but I've never listened to it myself, so I'll have to check that out. This is the game case for Alan Wake, but quite honestly I think that's quite a bland case. I'd have rather they give me like the green case with the actual backing, that sort of thing, but either way. And then we've got the Alan Wake Files. It's a book. I'm not actually sure what it's based on though. I think it's just... I'm assuming it's related to the game, but I'll probably have to go back and play the game to sort of, you know, get to grips with the book. So, as I was saying about Alan Wake, I do have the limited collector's edition. I'll probably read the book at some point, but I just never got around to it because it just hides away. I bought it for like £6. The game itself, when I bought it, like they had the game, which was like £4.50, and then this was £6. And I was like, for the collector's stuff, I might as well, £1.50 is really not going to hurt. It's a shame about the sleeve though, it's a little bit battered, but nothing I can do about that. Still a fairly decent collector's edition regardless. And recently on PC, if you've ever heard of the website The Game Collection, I'll link them in the description down below. They are a great site, really cheap games. No sponsoring by the way. But I picked up Alan Wake's American Nightmare on the PC for 95p. Which I haven't actually installed on my computer yet. Awkward. But yeah, so there is that. I still want to get around to finishing Alan Wake first, and then Alan Wake's American Nightmare will shortly follow. Next game I do have is, speaking of finishing games, I think I'm literally on the last part of this game. I really should finish this. Godfather 2. I have actually bought this before and played through it once and finished it. It's a great game. But I saw it cheap in a second-hand shop. Couldn't help myself. It's Godfather 2. It's an amazing game. So yeah, Godfather 2. I'm really pleased that I actually managed to pick that up for my collection. The next we have The Bureau, XCOM Declassified. It's a game I've been after for a while. I managed to pick this up, and it's a gripping game. Like, I don't usually play strategy titles, or like, it's not necessarily strategy, but it's like third-person shooter strategy. But it is a really good game, set in the 60s. I think it's set in the late 60s because JFK is president. Yeah, so it's going to be the late 60s. Really good game, really good promise as well. Great story from what I've played of it so far. Next up is Forza 3. Always got to have a good racing title. I know I should have Forza 4. I did have Forza 4. Sorry if you can hear my Xbox in the background. The iPad is leant against my TV and my Xbox One is still on. But either way, Forza 3 is still a really good game to play, especially when you own a wireless speed wheel like me. I love this thing. This is actually a really good controller. I paid like £45 though, like ages ago. And speaking of controllers, the main controller I do use on my 360 is this Halo 3 Spartan 117 limited edition. As you can see, that shell looks amazing, but my thumbsticks are a bit worn out, so I'm probably going to have to change those out fairly soon. My voice keeps breaking today. Next up, we have probably my favourite multiplayer game, apart from COD 4, and that is Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Had so much fun on this game, so much fun. I really should go back and play the multiplayer on that, because hopefully I'd still play well, but we'd have to see. Next up, I'm playing through Metal Gear Solid 5 on the Xbox One at the moment, and this is another great Metal Gear game. It's underrated, but it's by Platinum Games. They do a really good job usually with their titles, and they didn't disappoint with this one either. And that is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This was hyped for years. Like, it was revealed at E3 one year. Oh, full color manual. You're doing it right, Platinum. You're doing it right. It was just under the Metal Gear Rising name, and then it switched developer to Platinum Games, and we're at Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and it's a really good title for the Xbox 360. To be fair, it didn't do too well in the reviews. Like, it got like 60 to 80%, which it's not like great, but it's not bad either. So you can take it both ways. The next game is backwards compatible on Xbox One, but I still own a disc I owned a disc copy before it became backwards compatible, and that is Fallout 3. Definitely one of the best series on the Xbox, like, ever. The weird thing about this though is I have Fallout 3 here, but if you look at my disc, Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition. Interesting. So I haven't actually played this disc copy because I had this given to me by my brother by my brother because he didn't want it. So more for me. And that's the same again for this Fallout New Vegas. Another great title on the Xbox 360. Fallout 3 is much better though, but this is still really good. Like, it's weird because Fallout 3 in terms of gameplay and story is better, but I'd put more hours into this. Do not know why, but hey ho. And the last 3 games are actually from another series. I'll probably collect this series as well, because to be honest, I've got these 3, and I've got another one on Xbox One, and I've got 2 on the original Xbox. So I'm only missing 1 disc copy. Whoa, that's weird. Okay, so as you've seen, I've got Halo 1 and Halo 2. We've got Halo 3 ODST. It's a little bit of a spin-off, I suppose, but it's actually a fairly decent game. Comes with the complete Halo 3 multiplayer disc, if I show you there, which was a fairly good multiplayer actually, but I didn't really play it too much. Again, a full colour manual. Hang on, what's that at the back? Is that like? Ah, that's ironic. An advert for the next game I'm going to show you. Ha ha. Halo Reach. Halo Reach is probably one of the better Halos that I've played. I bought it on release day when it first came out, but this is me rebuying it. It's now backwards compatible on the Xbox One as well, so if you want to get your fix, feel free. The final game I'm going to show you, I am sort of gutted about the disc I got given, that is Halo 4. I got no manual and I got bundle copy discs, which sort of sucks. But it's still a Halo 4, it's still a fairly decent game. And the reason I say I'm going to collect for the series is because, as you may know, I do have Halo 5 Guardians on the Xbox One. So that is the only disc I'm actually missing. No, the only disc I'm missing is Halo 3, but I do own Halo 3 digitally on my 360, which is now back down here rather than over by my bed. So yeah, that is literally it for my Xbox 360 collection, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll be bringing you part 3 fairly soon for my PlayStation 2 game collection. Cheers.